It's showtime. Wonder Man might be the most confident, character-driven story Marvel Studios has ever released, and it proves that sometimes the best Marvel projects are the ones with the least pressure attached to them. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, my name is Troy. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to review Wonder Man, the latest from Marvel Studios, Marvel Television, under their Marvel Spotlight banner. It's on Disney Plus. All 8 episodes dropped last night, and originally not a fan of that. I think looking back and after reflecting and watching all 8 episodes, I do think it honestly was the best move. Wonder Man is one of Marvel's most confident and character-driven projects to date. It prioritizes story, humanity, and relationships over spectacle, and that choice absolutely pays off. It really feels like Marvel trusting its creators to tell a really impactful story, and they just nail it. Destin Daniel Cretton is now 2 for 2 in the MCU after Shang-Chi, now Wonder Man, and he's directing Spider-Man Brand New Day, so you better believe he's going to bring the sauce for that too. But he just does a great job of these character beats and nailing why we need to fall in love with these characters. I mean, it's just a phenomenal job that he did here. And I was just really blown away and impressed by this project. It's completely unique and so different than anything that Marvel has ever done before, because it's not about the fighting. It's not about the heroes. There is no twist villain at the end of it. There is no huge villain arc or anything like that. It's just Simon Williams, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and Trevor Slattery, played by Sir Ben Kingsley, auditioning for this movie and striking up a friendship out of that. And it's just, man, that stuff, I didn't expect to fall in love with it as much as I did, but it was incredible. And I really love this being released under the Marvel Spotlight umbrella, because removing the pressure of multiverse stakes or constant connectivity allows us to exist as a true one-off character study. I really think the Spotlight format gives Simon Williams a story the chance to breathe, right? Over 8 episodes, you fall in love with this character, and that's largely in part because of Yahya's performance. He's the perfect casting for this, but you really see his humanity. You can relate to his struggles as an actor who just wants to make it. He's looking for his big break, and he gets in his own way, and it gets in his own head by just trying to be the best he can at this craft, and you fall in love with him over the course of these 8 episodes, as you see him struggle and try to find his purpose, try to find whatever he can do to have that big break that he desperately wants, and how Trevor, of all people, becomes this, figure for him where they're friends, and really the first friend he have, which really makes the betrayal of sorts that comes later in this series all the more devastating because of how great their chemistry really is. Simon Williams' drive, self-doubt, and need to prove himself, they just feel really grounded and authentic, and I think he is one of the more human, more relatable protagonists that Marvel has given us, especially in the multiverse saga post-Avengers Endgame. And so it was just really refreshing to see this level of care and just development over the course of 8 episodes, and just looking at where this character was at the beginning to where he was in the finale. It's just a great arc for him. It makes me really want to see this character again in the future. By the end of it, you're just fully invested in him as a person, not just a superhero. I think they did a really good job of kind of teasing out his powers, but not revealing too much, because again, it's not the point of the show. The point of the show is to introduce you to this character, why you should care about him, and they did a fantastic job in doing that. I think the way they brought his powers into that was really interesting and really unique, especially with the Doorman clause is a why he has to hide those abilities. I'm really interested to see what they could do with this character going forward. And I really want to give a shout out to episode 4, The Doorman, because I think this is my favorite of the series that they did in these 8 episodes. It's just an incredible piece of storytelling. Taking a character who was only referenced earlier, giving them an entire episode of context was a brilliant creative choice, in my opinion. It's the perfect example of how TV can be a better outlet or a better medium to tell a story than a movie can, because it allows you to take a step back and have an episode completely dedicated to this Doorman clause. And you're able to see how having Simon have this kind of a similar experience too in a lot of ways, and kind of see how he relates to the Doorman in just a really clever way, a really clever creative way they're able to have in weaving that character into the story. And just, it was a great episode. I think I said my favorite of the 8. And the writing is just clever, self-aware, and confident without being distracting. The meta commentary is used thoughtfully and really does enhance the story rather than undercutting it. The cameos are amazing, right? It's really fun. Especially shout out Josh Gad in this. Again, they did a really good job of keeping that under wraps because it was such a surprise seeing him in this show, and I'll never be able to see Olaf the same after his sequence in the club. Like, my goodness. But just a really clever way for them to introduce some of these real life actors into the story. Again, it wasn't distracting or anything like that. Again, it's going to get a lot of comparisons to the studio and how they did that, but again, this is definitely a step back from that. It's kind of studio light, but the cameos they had, I thought, worked super well and really did enhance the story. It's also really funny seeing Joe Pantoliano come back and replace Trevor after Trevor is arrested. That was just a really funny callback to an earlier sequence in the show. Just really fun. But looking ahead, I truly hope this isn't the last that we see Simon Williams. A return post Secret Wars may be on the table. I think that a West Coast Avengers seems to be the more natural fit for him, especially with Vision Quest coming out later this year. Being set on the West Coast as well. And, it just seems like a natural next step for this character because I think it's fun. I think it's a really fun character, and they did a really great job, again, of bringing this character to life and, again, giving you a reason to care about him. And so I think the stories are endless, right? There's a lot of stories to be told with him and Vision and Wanda as well, which, she's rumored to be coming back in some capacity, potentially in Doomsday, probably Secret Wars for sure. But I just want to see more of this character desperately. I think Simon Williams, I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen, I think him opposite Paul Bettany, opposite Elizabeth Olsen, I think would do some really fun stuff. Some of the comic stories, again, are just really great. And so I hope this isn't the end. There's so much potential for this character, even if it is like a one-off again. I think that the Spotlight banner, I think, is an interesting method for Marvel Studios if they wish to continue doing that. Because I think telling these one-off stories, I think there is a place for them in the MCU, especially in a post-Secret Wars world where we don't really know what that looks like, And so I think that if they want to keep doing this, I'm all on board because, again, the creativity here is just so solid and it was executed very well. So overall, Wonder Man is proof that Marvel doesn't need to go bigger, it needs to go deeper. It's thoughtful, confident, and exactly the kind of storytelling that I want more of. The series proves Simon Williams deserves a place in the MCU, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for that character. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about Wonder Man. How did you feel about the show? What did you like? What didn't you like? Be curious to know where this ranks in your post-Endgame Disney Plus shows for me. It's towards the top for me. It's not at the very top. Loki and Moon Knight are still my favorites, but this is definitely up there. It's definitely in the upper part of the Disney Plus shows for me. But if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to see the future stuff. Thanks for tuning in.